Imagine being 16 years old with no home to go back to, no bed to sleep in, no money for food, just the cold streets, an empty stomach, and a head full of dreams that seemed impossible. This is the story of Daniel, a teenager who went from sleeping under bridges to building a business empire worth millions. Daniel's childhood was filled with pain and struggle. His father left when he was just 5 years old. His mother, battling addiction, could barely take care of herself, let alone her child. By the time Daniel turned 16, life had pushed him out onto the streets. He carried everything he owned in a torn backpack. He drifted from shelter to shelter, sometimes going days without eating. The nights were the worst. He often sat on a park bench, staring at the glowing city skyline. The bright lights felt like they belonged to another world, a world of success, comfort, and wealth that seemed unreachable. Yet, deep inside, he carried a quiet fire. A small voice whispered to him every night, "You were meant for more." One morning, while digging through old newspapers to keep himself warm, Daniel came across an article that changed his life. The headline read, "The Internet doesn't care who you are." The article explained how ordinary people were building businesses online, creating opportunities without needing wealth, connections, or privilege. It struck him like lightning. If the Internet truly didn't care who you were, maybe, just maybe, there was hope for him too. Daniel found his way to the public library. It was warm, quiet, and best of all, it had free computers. He didn't have money, but he had time, and he was determined to use it. Day after day, he sat at those library computers, teaching himself how the online world worked. He watched tutorials, read articles, and studied digital marketing, business, and even a little coding. At first, nothing worked. His first website failed. His first product didn't sell. He made mistake after mistake, often leaving the library frustrated and defeated. But Daniel refused to quit. He believed that every failure carried a lesson, and if he could learn those lessons, success would come. After months of relentless learning, Daniel decided to launch a small online store. With no money for inventory, he turned to a method called dropshipping, where products are shipped directly from suppliers to customers. His focus was on affordable fashion accessories, things that looked good but didn't cost much. Using free social media platforms, he began promoting his products. He posted every day, created simple but engaging captions, and reached out to people one by one. At first, sales were painfully slow, but then one order came in, then another, then another. The joy Daniel felt the day he received his first $100 payment was indescribable. To him, it wasn't just money. It was proof that he wasn't stuck, proof that his story could change. What started as a trickle soon grew into a steady stream. Within a year, Daniel was making more money than he ever thought possible. At 19, he finally left the shelters behind and rented a tiny one-room apartment. It wasn't much, but it was his. For the first time in years, he had a bed, a door he could lock, and a place to call home. But Daniel didn't stop there. He kept learning. He reinvested every dollar he could into growing his business. He studied branding, customer service, and e-commerce strategies. His little online store began to expand. Orders came in from across the country, and soon from around the world. By the time he was 22, Daniel had turned his small store into a global brand. At 25, the boy who once slept on park benches had become a millionaire entrepreneur. His story became a source of inspiration for thousands of people who felt trapped by their circumstances. But Daniel himself never forgot where he came from. When asked about his journey, Daniel always said the same words. "I was homeless, but I wasn't hopeless. As long as I kept learning, kept trying, and refused to quit, my future was still in my hands." With his success, Daniel made a promise to himself. He began funding programs that gave homeless teens access to education, mentorship, and technology. He knew that sometimes all it takes is one spark, one chance, one person who refuses to quit, to turn pain into purpose. Daniel's story is proof that no one is defined by their circumstances. You can be born into struggle. You can face rejection. You can lose everything. But as long as you hold on to your belief and refuse to quit, your life can change. So, If you're listening to this story right now and you're going through hard times, remember Daniel. Remember the homeless teen who became a millionaire entrepreneur. If he could rise above the darkest nights of his life, then so can you. Your story isn't over yet.